Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom Kwets. I'm from GS1 Netherlands. And
I'm Dennis O'Brien, and I'm from GS1 Ireland.
so what we'll do in these 15 minutes, we'll give you some more insights. We'll try to inspire you about a standard from GS1, which is the QR code powered by GS1. One scan, infinite possibilities. So, if you could click. Yeah, thank you. So maybe first and for all, for the ones or the people that wouldn't know GS1, Global Standard 1 as an organization, a small introduction. GS1 is an international standards development organization. It has member organizations in 118 countries. It's probably best known from supply chain standards, which is the barcode on products. GS1 has standards for identification, capturing, and sharing. And the most well-known one is this. There's a product number, that's the identity of this product. There's a capture symbol, which is on here, it's a 1D barcode. And the sharing, the most common application is at point of sale. You scan this, or somebody scans this, and you get the price of the product. That has been there for 50 years. We had an anniversary last year, 50 years of barcodes at GS1. There are more than 1 billion products identified with these codes. It happens 10 billion times a day, I've been told. And that's going to change. So the 1D barcode is going to be phased out, and it will be replaced by this, which is a QR code, a 2D symbol, QR code powered by GS1. Thank you. You could ask yourself, and that's a very good question, why is this happening? So I think it's very important to start with why when we do these things. Well, the reason is that, well, the world is in transformation, value chains are in transformation, and there's much more and more demand from what kind of product this is. Yeah? It's not only the price that's important. If you look at an apple, you could ask yourself, okay, how old is it? What's the best before date? Where does it come from? Is it from Ireland, or is it coming from South Africa? Where is it coming from? Does it come from a biofarm? What kind of certifications has it? All that kind of information. What's the footprint of this apple? All these data is out there somewhere, but it's at the moment not necessarily connected to that piece of fruit or to any product in that matter. So that transition, that's something that can be supported with the QR code powered by GS1. This one. So before we get into a bit more practical details, and my colleague Dennis will start taking that over, so what this actually enables, it enables this physical product to connect to the digital world, which with a 1D barcode is not possible. That's something that this does. Second thing, also important, it's a foundational, let's say, innovation. It's not a commercial solution on itself. It's a building block where we see, let's say, the whole ecosystem of solution providers using this to enhance interoperability and data sharing between value chains around the world. And it's also an ambition of retail to be ready to scan at point of sale the price with this barcode. And that will help to pace up the transition to get more this. So this will phase in, and the 1D barcode is going to phase out afterwards. So what we'll do now is I'll hand it over to Dennis, and he'll explain a bit more practicalities on.
So what we're about to demonstrate is what the barcode can do in the normal point-of-sale environment. So nothing changes. The barcode is different. The data in the barcode is different. There's much more data, or can be much more data in the barcode, but the actual functionality at the point of sale will not change, as you'll see in the demonstration here now. The important point to remember is that the data in the barcode is now dynamic. So we can include additional information such as batch, expiry date, weight, serial number, even volume, length, breadth, width. There are a plethora of different data elements that can be included in the barcode. And this is just a basic point of sale. As you'll see, it's very similar. You will notice the difference that when we scan a product with a QR code powered by GS1, it can include a batch and expiry date. And you notice on this next example, it can also include variable weight. So we get the actual weight of an individual product as well. And also the fact that it can be trapped and prevented from being sold if it's out of date, or if it's subject to a recall. And the recall can be managed centrally by the producer. Then Tom will also show you additional uses. Remember, it's one barcode, infinite possibilities. The next video will show you the same barcode used in different contexts.
Yeah. Thank you, Dennis. So where Dennis showed, let's say, started from the point of sale, this is, and we actually recorded it live at the stand, so happy to visit this. This is, we have here on individual pieces of fruit. So this is an apple. I first take, let's say, the profile of a quality assurance inspector or somebody that's doing QA. Uses an application to scan the same code, and it could, in this case, gives best before date and gives information back in terms of this is compliant with safety. Another application is, for example, like a retail manager who needs to control planning and stock and shelf, basically scanning exactly the same code, and it will give, in this case, stock information. So something completely different, take a different, let's say, view on it. And then while it passes through the value chain, I'm here a consumer, I use a smartphone camera. Yeah? I scan exactly the same code, and what you will get is you'll be able to put, let's say, the story of what kind of product is it, what has it, what value is it, what's the origin, where is it coming from. So basically, as a brand owner or as a private label owner, you can basically tell the story to inspire the consumer. Yeah? And at the same time, and that's important, that's the Ambition 2027, that same code, as Dennis already showed, you can scan it at point of sale and it passes by, and that's then the end of the chain for this particular piece of fruit. Yeah. So that's what we tried to give you a bit of insights. What can you do with it? Now the question is, where does the magic happen? Dennis is going to explain a little bit how it works, how the standard works.
So I'm not going to go into too much technical detail, but if anybody's interested in more technical detail or wants to look at this more closely, feel free. Our stand is literally just there, and you'll get a free apple or a free pear, your preference. But feel free to come over and have a chat if you want more detail. I won't bore you with all the technical stuff at the moment. But there is a difference, it's important to note, there is a difference between a QR code that everybody is familiar with and that your smartphone automatically processes. So when you point your phone at a QR code, it will process it, it'll know it's a URL, and it'll bring you to that website. The QR code powered by GS1 is different. It's different in that it contains additional data elements. It's not just a URL. So the data elements are, you have a GS1 digital link URI, okay, not a URL, and that identifies what we call a resolver, which I'll come on to in a few moments. And the additional data elements, you can see there, 01 is followed by the product ID. For those of you who deal with barcodes at the moment, you'll find your GTIN is the 14-digit number. It's a unique global number that identifies your actual product that you're purchasing. Data element starting with 10 is the batch number. And the data element starting with 17 is the expiry date. So it's year, year, month, month, day, day format. So you can read the expiry date on that particular barcode. You can have additional elements as well. So typical ones are serial, which would be 21, variable weight, which could be 3102, but there are different data elements for different pieces of data if you want to include them in your barcode. So that's the difference, is the structure or the format of the data in the barcode makes it different to a normal QR code. And then that's the barcode, the content of the barcode. But the magic that makes it happen, remember, what's happening is you scan the same barcode, but you end up with different data sets available to you. Now, in most cases, it's much easier to demonstrate the different data sets on a web page. You get different content. It's displayed to you differently. But there's no reason why it couldn't be an API, for example, or formatted data that you can read by machine. It doesn't have to be human-readable data. It can be machine-readable data. So you scan the barcode. It goes to a resolver. You set a context. Without the context, you end up going to the default consumer site. If you scan it on your mobile phone, you're welcome to do it at our stand, it'll bring you to the consumer-facing website. But if we add a context, the resolver will point you in a different direction, any number of different directions. The context can be, who am I? Am I a QA manager? I'll get that data. Am I a store manager? I'll get different data. Am I at the cashier's desk? It'll do different things. It could be the location or locale. So it might bring me to a different website depending on what location I scan the barcode in. It might be what language my device is using, might bring me to a different website as well, or even the time of day when I'm scanning the barcode. Scan it in the morning, I get one recipe suggestion. Scan it in the afternoon, I get a different recipe suggestion. So it's a very powerful tool. As we say, one barcode, infinite possibilities.
Thank you, Dennis. And I think as Dennis already said, one, scan infinite possibilities. Also important, we had here 4, let's say, archetypes in value chains, but that can be many more players. That can also be regulators. That can be other organizations, certification, other organizations that make claims on certain products. They could be included in, let's say, in the value chain to channel and use this, let's say, standard to channel to the right information. Also interesting and maybe good to stress is that those pockets of data that you are actually bringing to the consumer in this case, or it could also be to B2B, but in this case to the consumer, it can come from different pockets of data. It doesn't necessarily have to come from one database where you collect everything. Yeah? It can point out to different data sets in a verified way. So that's also the power. So it follows, let's say, the whole movement towards more distributed, federated architectures where you use primary data sitting at various places in the value chain, not necessarily in one single database. Yeah, next one.
Sorry.
No worries.
Not doing my job.
Okay. And then maybe to as a summary, you've seen in the clips or the movies that we took some use cases. I think, and these slides will be distributed as well, I guess, is a number of other use cases, and there are plenty more. But I think some important ones: digital product passport. That's a regulation within the EU that's moving forward, where you want to, okay, what's the journey of a product throughout its life cycle? This technology will provide value to that. Food waste reduction, for example. If you talk about how can we reduce the food waste, one of the things at retailer level is dynamic pricing, that you take into account not only the product number, but the product plus the best before date. And based on those combinations, you could actually get to a more dynamic pricing model. So it also supports these kind of let's say, new initiatives to prevent food waste. Sustainability and recycling. The recycle points of plastic bottles, for example, they can use this to identify what actually is it and reach out to components, which kind of plastic is it, so that you can enhance those processes. So that's a number of use cases. And then maybe to finish off, and again, I think one scan, significant number of use cases. It is the next generation of barcodes. We're in a transition at the moment, and it supports a number of initiatives for this Congress, for example, food safety for sure, but also improved packaging, because you can get much more information to your consumer and don't have to have all these kind of symbols on the packaging. Tracking and tracing, and it scans at the point of sale. So that was our
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.